Mr. Speaker, thank you for the opportunity to contribute to the motion before the House, and I thank the Honourable Attorney General for his contribution to the motion. The Madrid Protocol, the Madrid Convention and the Madrid Protocol, as the Honourable Attorney General rightfully referred to as the Madrid system, likewise the Paris Convention, has been tabled to Parliament, and the committee was given the responsibility by the Parliament to review it. There's the recommendations of the committee. I'm not going to go through it again, but I might cover that later on. But that has already been referred to the House by the Honourable Attorney General. But it's unfortunate, Mr. Speaker, that the Honourable Attorney General has recommended to the House that it does not support the recommendation of the committee that is put to it. I'm going to speak on the recommendations later. But before I do that, Honourable Speaker, I'm going to stand here today because I'm going to speak for the committee. I speak for the committee because when we deliberated on this matter, we looked at the substance of the matter before the committee as it is referred to by Parliament. So as we did for every other convention that we've had a look at, on the substance of it, and make the recommendations to the House as the committee sees fit for the benefit of the House and what it believes to be the best interest of the Fijian people. That is the guiding principle of why the committee makes the recommendation as it does. It bases its recommendation on what it believes to be the best recommendation to the House, given the matter that has been placed before it. And I will elaborate a little bit on that. Now, on that matter also, Mr. Speaker, let me assure the House the committee is not misguided. But I will talk about this a little bit later in terms of the guidance that was given to the committee by the people, by the government departments that came to present, on which basis objectively we have reached a conclusion, and the recommendations that we have made. We have not made these recommendations in isolation. We have not made these recommendations trying to follow within the recommendations that we have made for other treaties and conventions that were put to the committee, because those conventions and treaties are matters that have to be considered on their own merit in terms of the laws that exist in the country right now and the laws that have to be made. Now, I want to correct that. We are not misguided, Mr. Speaker, and I'll tell you that in a moment. Now, I want to correct also an issue here that the Honourable Attorney General has noted about WIPO, that WIPO has made this recommendation about not needing to have the legislations in place and be able to accede to this, because this is new. We have a written opinion, Honourable Speaker, in the report by the Office of the Solicitor General, and it has in the verbatim their submissions to the committee. Never did they say at a single moment that WIPO said yes, that we can accede without having to have the relevant laws in place. That is why we made this recommendation to the House. And I'll tell you more about it, because I believe that it's supposed to mislead the House. It is not. We were never told. Because if we did, we would have included it. Also, Honourable Speaker, I want to note at this stage that the Honourable Attorney General has referred to me and Manrolis. For the information of the House, Honourable Speaker, and for the information of the nation, Manrolis is a law firm that deals currently with 50% of intellectual property, trademark patents that are the applications that are made to CACO. They are, the committee saw it fit that they should be invited. And it wasn't only Manrolis, it was Sloan as well. We also invited Sharani. We invited FIPRA. Okay? We understand that copyright is not included under Madrid. course we know. But because FIPRA was invited, they came and they presented, like any other person would come to the committee. It is fair for the committee to bring their issues to the Parliament and include it in their report. So, because Mandrolis was there, you will note in the verbatim that we asked them questions, we raised issues in the discussions of the committee on what Mandrolis had presented. It's actually got nothing to do with me and Mandrolis. Now, I want to correct that misconception here, Mr. Speaker, and I think the Attorney General should withdraw that statement, making false allegations and allusions. Mr. Speaker, the recommendations of the committee are there for you, and there is a reason for that. Now, I said earlier, and I'm not going to talk about the benefits because it's there before the House and also the Attorney General had already alluded to it. But what I would like to note, though, that in terms of these recommendations, why did the committee come up with these recommendations? It is, the simple reason is this. The committee was appointed by the Solicitor General's Office and also by the Fiji Intellectual Property Office of the example of the Intellectual Property Office of New Zealand. We never knew about them. There's the reason we went there. And Honorable Speaker, let me tell this House also, how the committee was rather surprised at the presentation that was made to the committee by Intellectual Property Office New Zealand on how they had come to accede to the Madrid system. This was very, very revealing, and which is why, Honorable Speaker, we are not experts. The Honorable O'Connor is not an expert. I'm not an expert. Honorable Charlie is not an expert. Unwai is not an expert, nor is Salai. We need to look at the example of a jurisdiction, and we just did not go there on our own. We were pointed to it. And by who? By the Solicitor General and by a FIPO. And then, okay, we went there. And you know what we found out, Honorable Speaker? The committee, and I'm being led to believe this, we were misguided. We were misled by the Office of the Solicitor General and FIPO. And I have it right here. I can read it to you right now, and I will. The whole issue why we recommended that we should adopt these legislations first. And like I said earlier, Mr. Speaker, we take every convention on its merit. We don't take a precedence from another one on its merit, objectively, for the purpose of this House, that we do not mislead this House. Our responsibility is to this House, and we depend entirely, because we are not experts, to the people who come before the committee to tell us what they believe the committee must do. And we, as lay people, need to present to the House what we believe is best. The House does not have to pass it, but this is the deliberation of the committee. So I'm going to give it to you. Now, there is one thing that is absolutely clear, Honorable Speaker. Should Fiji accede to this convention? The short-sub answer is yes. Short-sub answer, yes. The question is, are we ready to accede to Madrid now? The short-sub answer is no. And I'll tell you why. Honorable Speaker, what I hold is something that's in your, it's part of the submission made to us. It tells, the submission from FIPO tells of the roadmap from when New Zealand, this is the FIPO one, and say, what they're saying that New Zealand did for them to accede to Madrid. And here it says, in this table, May 2012, regulation consultation subject to cabinet approval. June, July, August, September 2012, system testing, including from users, regulation consultation, regulation drafting. Now I'm talking about, when you talk about regulation, I'm referring to what the committee is putting to the House as a recommendation here, Honorable Speaker. Trademark patents and another one. Okay. September 2012, deposit instrument of accession. Now, September 2012 was when they deposited it in Geneva. October, November 2012, user training, including presentation from WACO. And December 2012, IPONs ready to process under the Madrid Protocol. Now, Honorable Speaker, like I said earlier, we are not experts. Because we are led down that way, we have to go there. It was the example that they were going to follow. They said that they would do it in 6 months. Now, Honorable Speaker, this is a presentation, and this is available on IPON's Intellectual Property New Zealand website. And this is where we got it from. And this is part of the presentation to us. I will read from the verbatim of the presentation to the committee, so that I'm not seen to be misleading the House. Mr. Speaker, this was the presentation, and you will see it in the verbatim before you, by Mr. S. Gesley, one of the managers from the Intellectual Property Office of New Zealand. And you will read from it on page 48. It says, overall, to our part to join the Madrid Protocol, the decision was made back in 2006 for the New Zealand government decision to join the Madrid Protocol. And that they passed all their laws in between. And let me tell you, Honorable Speaker and the House, the different laws that we are recommending here and when New Zealand did it. Honorable Speaker, they did not do it in 6 months. They did not. The trademark laws were done in 2002, Honorable Speaker. The trademark regulations was done in 2003. The patent laws were passed in 2013. Okay, copyright is not included. Geographical indications in 2006. Okay, but that's not being enforced at the moment. Plant variety in 1987, and design is the same laws that was in 1954. The point that I'm making here, Mr. Speaker, the committee can only make proper recommendation to the House and the people if it is given the correct information here. Now, Mr. Speaker, the committee, I was very suspicious, in terms of why there was such a big push to have Madrid now. I know that we're contemplating it for a very, very long time. Everybody wants Madrid. It's just whether we are ready and have the capacity to have Madrid. Now, Mr. Speaker, the committee was told that the trademark bills, the patents bill, the design bill has gone through cabinet, has already gone through cabinet. It has not seen the House. It has not seen the House. Now, you will, I'm not going to go through, in the back of our discussions with Intellectual Property of New Zealand, they clearly stated to the committee that one, they had all their laws, almost all of their laws ready, except part of the trademark regulations, well before 2012. They did all their consultations with all of their stakeholders. It's in the verbatim, you can read it. That includes all the accounting firms, all the law firms, the people that own trademarks and patents in New Zealand. The consequences of going there, yes, there were opposition, like here in Fiji, there were opposition. There were opposition from some law firms, but that is okay. Everyone is presenting to the committee, what they believe the law should be. There's nothing wrong with being, with objecting, because that is a fair thing to do, but that does not mean that when people object, that we should take the objection. We should put to the House what's in the best interest of the House and the people, which is why we are recommending here, as lay people, as members of Parliament, the presidents of New Zealand, as we were told they would follow. Mr. Speaker, I'm led to believe we were being misled. Now, you will also read, Honorable Speaker, and we're getting very suspicious of this. And when we discussed this report, I told our members of our committee, let's not put this recommendation in terms of part of the reason why that we have to exceed. Because if you read, I can't find it here at the moment, but if you look at this, in the analysis report by the Office of the Solicitor General, it started off with Fiji having to exceed, and I will read it now, I think I've got it better. As part of the policy-based loan with the Fijian government, the Asian Development Bank required Fiji to seek cabinet approval to update Fiji's trademark, patents and designs legislation. Now, that was the beginning of the written analysis, Honorable Speaker. Why did that have to come right at the beginning? Why did it not have to speak about the benefits of this to the people of Fiji as being the reason for it? Now, government has its own intentions, but that aside, looking at our readiness, looking at our capacity, if you look at the laws are not there. It is, I think it is not fair for the Parliament to try and accede to this legislation without even understanding what's in the law. Okay, we were told that this is an intent. But Mr. Speaker, in New Zealand, the intent was given 6 years prior. Then they went through the whole of New Zealand and all the consultation before they wrote the laws, before they gave it process in Geneva. And then because after you deposit in Geneva, you have 90 days to get ready. Okay, we have all between now and then, before now and the depositing. But, like I said earlier, we were never told that WACO said this, that we could exceed without having the laws in place. But practically, Mr. Speaker, practically for the benefit of Fiji and its people, for whom this law is for, okay? I know it's going to benefit a lot of people from abroad who wants to register their mark here. It will also benefit the few of the Fijian businesses that register their mark overseas, because primarily most of the marks that are registered here belong to people who have their businesses here. I think you will know that. But for Parliament to try and make this decision to accede to this convention without, without the laws, and also, FIPO is not ready. They still have analog records. Okay, they said that they are going to ask businesses who own marks and trademarks and also patents to, to re-register their trademarks. Okay, that is okay. But what we're saying, Mr. Speaker, the House does not have the full information to be able to accede to this. So, Mr. Speaker, as far as the committee is concerned, and I will reiterate that again, we say accede to the convention, yes. Are we ready? No. We should build capacity, we should get these laws before the House, let the House read it, let the House scrutinize it, make sure that the House is happy that it is consistent with the convention, and then the committee, then the House should say, yes, we should accede. Thank you, Honourable Speaker.